It was one of those crisp fall mornings, the kind where the air smells like leaves and coffee, when I heard her voice slicing through the quiet of our street. Linda, our HOA's self-crowned dictator, was out there on my porch, laying into my wife, Sarah, over a stack of cardboard boxes. Our crime, apparently, was getting too many deliveries. I peeked through the blinds, and there she was, finger-wagging, clipboard clutched like a shield, acting like our porch was a personal affront to her perfect little world. Now, let me paint you a picture. We'd moved to this cozy little suburb outside Raleigh, North Carolina, about 10 months ago, drawn in by the wide lawns, the dog walkers, the way the oaks turned gold in October. It was the kind of place where kids ride bikes in the cul-de-sac and neighbors swap small talk over mailboxes. Sarah and I loved it, thought we'd found our forever home. But Linda? She was the fly in the ointment. Mid-50s, hair sprayed into a helmet of blonde, always in yoga pants and those giant sunglasses that screamed, "I'm in charge." She ran the HOA like it was her personal fiefdom, doling out fines for unapproved mailbox colors or lawns mowed a day late. Most folks just rolled their eyes and paid up to avoid her wrath. But Sarah? Sarah wasn't most folks. What Linda didn't know, what she couldn't have dreamed, was that my wife wasn't just some pushover. Sarah's a federal prosecutor, the kind who stares down mob bosses and corporate crooks without blinking. And that morning, Linda had just picked a fight with the wrong woman. I leaned against the kitchen counter, sipping my coffee, watching Sarah stand there on the porch, cool as ice, while Linda ranted. "This is unacceptable, Sarah. Your porch looks like an Amazon warehouse. It's against HOA standards." Sarah, signing for another delivery, barely looked up. "Morning, Linda," she said, all calm, like she was greeting a friend. "Can you show me the rule about package limits?" Linda's face twitched, like she'd bitten into a lemon. "It sits implied in the aesthetic guidelines," she snapped, flipping through her clipboard like it held the secrets of the universe. Sarah just smiled, that slow, dangerous smile I'd seen her use in court. "Send me the exact policy, Linda. I'd love to read it." I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. Linda huffed, shot me a glare through the window, and stormed off, her heels clicking like a metronome. Sarah came inside, set a package on the counter, and said, "She's gonna regret that." I knew that Tony, it wasn't anger, it was strategy. Sarah was already 3 moves ahead, and Linda didn't even know the game had started. See, Sarah's job means she gets a lot of packages, sealed documents, case files, evidence for trials. That week, she was prepping for a big fraud case, so our porch was a revolving door for FedEx and UPS. To us, it was just life. To Linda, it was a personal insult to her vision of suburban perfection. 2 days later, a neon yellow envelope slid under our door, "Notice of violation," in screaming red letters, like we'd robbed a bank. I read it out loud over breakfast. Per HOA guidelines, excessive deliveries are disruptive to neighborhood safety and appearance. $600 fine for future violations. Sarah didn't even flinch, just sipped her coffee and said, "Cute. She's making it up as she goes." That's when I knew Linda wasn't just annoying, she was dangerous. Not because she was smart, but because she thought she was untouchable. It didn't stop there. Our neighbor, Tom, a chatty guy who knows everyone's business, dropped by that afternoon. "Heads up," he said, leaning over the fence. "Linda's telling people you're running some shady side hustle out of your house. She's saying all those boxes are proof you're selling something illegal." Sarah's eyebrow arched, and I could practically see the gears turning. "Is she now?" she said, her voice all honey with a hint of steel. By the next day, Linda and her HOA cronies were out front, snapping photos of our porch like it was a crime scene. I stepped outside, hands in my pockets. "Something I can help you with?" Linda didn't even look up, just documenting violations. Sarah appeared behind me, phone in hand, probably recording. "Linda," she said, all calm, "you know you're trespassing, right? Our property line goes to the sidewalk. Want to see the deed?" Linda froze, then waved a hand. It's a common area. Sarah tilted her head. Not according to the county. Keep that in mind. Linda backed off, but her eyes said this wasn't over. That night, over dinner, I asked Sarah why she didn't just shut Linda down right there. She leaned back, twirling her glass of wine. Because she's building my case for me every step she takes. Every word she says, it's another nail. Let her think she's winning. It'll make her sloppy. And sloppy she got. A few days later, an HOA email blasted out to the whole neighborhood, titled Delivery Policy Enforcement. No names, but it was clearly about us, warning about suspicious activity from too many packages. Sarah read it, closed her laptop, and said, "That's her first big mistake. She just went public with her lies." I could feel the air was shifting, like the moment before a storm breaks. Things came to a head at the HOA's disciplinary meeting a week later. The clubhouse was packed, neighbors whispering, some looking at us like we were the bad guys. Linda stood at the front, clicking through a slideshow of our porch, boxes circled in red like evidence in a murder trial. "This," she declared, "is a violation of our community standards. It attracts thieves, lowers property values." Sarah raised her hand, cool as ever. "Can I ask a question?" Linda smirked. "You'll speak when I'm done." But Sarah didn't wait. She stood, voice steady, and asked, "Where's the rule that says how many packages I can get? And why are you taking photos on my private property?" The room went quiet. Linda stammered, "It sits implied." Sarah smiled. "Implied isn't a rule. And trespassing to take those photos? That's a violation. So is telling neighbors I'm running an illegal business. That's defamation, Linda." You could hear a pin drop. Then Sarah dropped the bomb. "As a federal prosecutor, I take things like that very seriously." The room erupted in whispers. Linda's face went pink, then white. She'd walked into a trap, and Sarah was closing it tight. After that, it was like watching a house of cards collapse. Sarah didn't just stop at calling out Linda's lies. She'd been digging quietly, methodically into the HOA's finances. Turns out, Linda had been playing fast and loose with the budget. $2,000 here for landscaping, with no receipts. $1,500 there for equipment repairs. That never happened. Sarah walked into the HOA's next board meeting, navy suit crisp, briefcase in hand, and laid it all out. She flashed her DOJ badge gold, gleaming, undeniable, and said, "I've sent these records to the state auditor. There's enough here for fraud, maybe even federal charges." Linda looked like she'd been hit by a truck. Her usual bluster was gone, replaced by a nervous twitch. Sarah slid a folder across the table, pages flagged with neon tabs. "This is just the start. There's also the trespassing, the defamation, and the harassment. I'm filing a civil suit, and you're named in it, Linda." The other board members squirmed, one muttering, "I didn't sign up for this." The fallout was swift. Neighbors started talking. Old Mr. Jenkins, who'd been fined for his ugly mailbox, shared how Linda bullied him into paying $200. The Parkers got a $300 fine for their kid's trampoline, called a safety hazard. Sarah collected their stories, had them sign statements, and sent it all to the county and state. By the next week, auditors were at the HOA office, and Linda's SUV peeled out looking like she'd seen a ghost. At a backyard coffee chat Sarah hosted, a dozen neighbors showed up, swapping stories, signing a petition to oust Linda for good. When Sarah sent her a cease and desist letter, Linda lost it to her doorbell cam caught her storming up, still in her bathrobe, slamming the unopened envelope on our porch table like it burned her hands. The final showdown came at the next HOA meeting. The clubhouse was standing room only, the air thick with tension. Linda tried to run it like nothing was wrong, but Mr. Jenkins stood up, waving financial records. "This doesn't add up, Linda. Where's the money going?" Before she could answer, Sarah was on her feet, laying out everything: trespassing, lies, $12,000 in unaccounted HOA funds. "This isn't just bad leadership," she said, voice like a blade. "It's illegal. Someone moved to vote Linda out. Hands shot up, nearly every single one. Linda's reign was over, her clipboard useless, her power gone. She slipped out the back, and I swear, the room felt 10 pounds lighter. The civil suit was the final nail. Sarah's lawyer tore through Linda's defenses in court, presenting videos, emails, witness statements. The judge hit Linda with $20,000 in damages for defamation and trespassing, plus legal fees. Her apology letter, short, grudging, court-ordered, went out to every neighbor. Linda's house hit the market a month later. She was gone in 6 weeks, replaced by a young family who brought us homemade cookies and said, "We heard you're the ones who took her down. Thank you." Now, our street feels different, like it's breathing again. The new HOA board actually listens. Kids play outside, flowers bloom without fear of fines. Sarah and I were on the porch last night, watching the sunset, and I said, "You could have just ignored her, you know." She laughed, soft and sure. "Maybe. But people like Linda count on the folks staying quiet. I don't play that game." And that's the thing. Sarah didn't win because she was loud or mean. She won because she was prepared, patient, and right. Linda thought she held all the cards, but Sarah was playing chess while Linda was stuck on checkers. So what about you? Ever had to deal with a Linda in your life, someone who thinks they can bully their way to power? Drop it in the comments. Tell me your story. Did you push back, or did you let it slide? And if you think Sarah went too fair or not far enough, let me know. Hit that like button if you're glad Linda got what was coming, and subscribe so you don't miss the next time someone tries to mess with the wrong neighbor. Because trust me, out here, justice has a way of finding its mark.